Hi guys, welcome back to the Social Tune, and today we're taking a look at the debut studio album by Hippo Campus, Landmark.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. It's so satisfying.
Oh, I have been looking forward to this. Ever since one of you guys told me that this album was coming out, and I checked out the EPs by this Minnesotan indie band, I knew that they were destined for greatness. They seem like one of those groups that if they had just a bit more exposure, would be one of those bands with absolutely rabid and massive fandoms where the fans are absolutely toxic and the band is absolutely great. And let me be clear, I'm not talking about their current fan base, who are definitely passionate, but who are honestly very helpful to me when researching this band. Heck, some of you watching this may have actually heard this act without actually knowing it, as they've played support for a number of bigger bands in the past, including Modest Mouse and Walk the Moon. And this had the hallmarks of a great debut written all over it. With a bigger budget and clocking in at 44 minutes with a total of 13 tracks, a couple of which were just interlude length. So I went into this with high hopes, and thankfully all of them were met, because this album is great. It's a fun slice of indie pop rock that is hugely refreshing, gorgeously produced, and frequently expertly written, with some true highlights that I just adored. And so let's dive in, starting with the production.
I need nothing more than my problems. Just let me know when you found them. You've got nothing, I've got something. I spent heaven, come on,
Now, one thing that I've always felt that Hippo Campus definitely needed was better vocal production and mixing. It was an issue that was definitely there on Bashful Creatures, and while South was definitely better mixed, I did feel that the vocals could get a little bit old across the album. Mainly due to the lack of interesting vocal production that I felt would have very much suited their instrumentation. And apparently someone higher up agreed with me and told them that, because on this album they experiment with that vocal production to occasionally glorious results. The easiest example for me is the gorgeous track Epitaph, with auto-tune and vocal production at their absolute best, adding a ton of atmosphere and matching the sweeping instrumentation perfectly. Take notes, people. And these vocal effects show up on a number of the tracks here, like the intro song Sun Veins, a great atmospheric opener with deeper drums and a swell that set the mood perfectly. Although, if you're looking for grand, opulent tracks, look no further than the interlude track, which sure is short, but really does hit you with its power. Or take the echoing effect on Way It Goes, which gave the track a lot more space and made it feel so much grander. Or take the incredibly sticky hook on Simple Season, where that whistling will get stuck in your head for days. And that's another great thing about this album. A lot of these songs are so damn catchy, proving that indie music can be just as mainstream accessible as any genre. Take the great guitar plucks on Western Kids, which was one of the many tracks here that reminded me of the 1975 in a good way. Or the lead-off single Boyish, which starts out with a blast of guitars that you would normally hear at the beginning of a symphonic metal album, with Zach Sutton, also known as Espo, because yes, this band has nicknames, providing some absolutely excellent bass work which will go widely unappreciated by a lot of people, but is essential to some of these hooks. Especially on the closing track Buttercup, where the drum work by Whistler Allen, also known as Beans, is also essential. But this album also has its quieter moments, particularly in its second half. Like the mysterious, atmospheric track Poems, which nevertheless built to a great hook backed up by some great drums and guitar snares. Or alternatively, take the more low-key, mournful lead-off single Monsoon. Or the louder, sweeping production of Vacation. Basically, pretty much every single song on this album is awesome, and really when the worst thing I can say is that the hooks on Tuesday and Vacation aren't quite as tight as some of the others here. That's hardly a huge criticism. And luckily, even on our lesser tracks, our vocalists do a great job.
the sunlight dripping on the country, lost to the night time going in deep. Singing to the drums like a mama. All we ever knew is when we did it.
vocalist Jake Lupin, aka Turntan, does a great job on this album. He sells the hell out of the more emotional tracks like Monsoon, and he carries the hooks on songs like Boyish, Way It Goes, and Simple Season effortlessly and playfully in a way that can't help but put a smile on your face. And I also have to give props to guitarist Nathan Stocker, or Stitches, and drummer Beans for their backing vocals. If I had to criticize Turntan, I'd say that his lower range isn't quite as fun or as compelling as his upper range, but still, he does a damn solid job here. Also, I really wish that he would explore his mid-range a bit more, because on the few times he did on this album, he brought a level of personality to the table that I felt really suited him. Sure, he's no Matty Healy, but he's still damn solid, and keep in mind he's also a lot younger. Which is another thing, considering the oldest member of this band is 20, it's incredible just how advanced they are. They're not just a teenage heartthrob. But do the lyrics reflect that maturity?
Just 2 days after the 1st of June, a pine with arms brushing off the dew. Unlike a sky called BS with death, precipitation of heart and head.
You know, while this album isn't handling grand, outlandish concepts or anything, the lyricism here would almost make you think otherwise with how grandiose they can make things feel. Heck, Epitaph is easily one of the best written songs on this album. A song fittingly about the struggle of songwriting, which is kind of hilarious in its irony. Now I will say, while this isn't a criticism, their lyrics do reflect their age. For example, Way It Goes is ridiculing our social media obsessed society, and it's clear in the lyrics that they're including themselves in that framing. Tuesday is about being drunk early in the week and the disorientating effect that can have. Vines dives into abandonment and the feeling of being alone in the world, which the band has freely admitted to feeling at times. And Boyish is about growing up in broken homes and the growing rate of divorces nowadays. Although, one song that doesn't quite seem to fit their age is Simple Season, a song about appreciating the simple beauties of the seasons, or in the case of the chorus, the joys of blueberry picking. That may sound childish to a lot of you, but it shows a level of emotional maturity that I feel will go unappreciated by a lot of people, and I honestly found it very genuine and charming. And then you get the more straightforward tracks that you'd expect from an indie band, like Western Kids, which obviously comments on the sickness behind our Western society today, but it also takes the time to highlight how enjoyable it can be to be a Western kid, even when you're aware of your privilege. After all, they would know they're Western kids themselves. One of the most interesting tracks lyrically is actually Monsoon, which reflects on the loss of family members and not feeling that crippling sadness and the feeling of it should have been me the way you're supposed to, which actually happens very often, and I'm surprised more bands don't write songs about this. And finally, the final track is about the two types of conflict that we experience in life, both inner and outer, and how those two types of struggles can clash and make life extremely difficult and complicated. So yeah, in the end, I enjoyed the hell out of this album. Phenomenal hooks, sharp writing, a more refined sound. This is, without a doubt, one of the best debuts you will hear all year. And so for me, it's getting a strong 8 out of 10. Definitely check this band out if you haven't already, because they are going places, believe me. So thank you guys for watching. If there are any other albums coming out in the next month or so, please post them in the comments or tweet them at me so I can listen to them and possibly review them. You'll find a link to my Twitter in the description. Feel free to follow me if you'd like. Please subscribe so you don't miss a thing, and until the next time, I'm Finn, and this is The Social Tunes, signing off.